Julian Strawther went from largely unplayed rookie to summer league standout to potential next starting shooting guard to trade rumors to now putting together a string of pretty good games. He's moving a lot more on defense, he's scoring at all three levels, getting it off the glass and running in transition. He's turning the corner as an NBA rotation piece. Peyton Watson went from unplayed rookie to G League developer to a constant bench piece to a fill-in starter for the Nuggets. The shot blocking ability and recovery ability of P-Watt remains near elite levels, and with some aspects of his offensive game getting better, he's become an even more stable part of the Nuggets' current and future plans.
So for this section, I'm going to highlight mainly the Celtics game, but there are going to be other games and other aspects of their overall performances that I will be talking about. The Celtics game is important because they combined for 33 points off of the bench together. For Julian specifically, I'm highlighting this game because I believe it showcased what his fully developed role offensively can be for this team and for the second unit specifically. Because he's a scorer through and through. Like that's pure blood. 3-level scorer with a versatile offensive game, a reliable in-between game. Talk about the floater a lot when it comes to Julian, and just incredible range that is getting more consistent with time. Julian Strawther's buckets from the Celtics game. There are a couple of different things that I wanted to look at because, like I said, I feel like this showcased what his full offensive role can be and just how well of a 3-level scorer and versatile scorer he can be for this team, and how important it is, honestly, because it's been a long conversation of the bench and talking about how somebody need to score the damn basketball off the bench because we can't keep having y'all come in and score 10, 12, 15 points a game. We need more. Julian Strawther can do more. His first bucket here, a floater. He's relocating to provide a passing lane for Russ. Gets the ball, shows his comfort with attacking closeouts, and gets to that patented floater. Showcasing kind of the microwave ability of what Julian Strawther can be and what I think that's part of the potential I see for him. The Nuggets hadn't scored a field goal in over 3 minutes up until this point. Eventually, he will be a go-to guy for this unit and for the team in general. And seeing moments like this where he can get the team back on track, it's nice to see. His second bucket here, they're running plays for him to get the ball in motion because they trust him as a scorer. Comes off the screen, now he's one-on-one in space versus Kristaps, and once again goes back to that floater. His third bucket, just a beautiful rhythm shot, sidestep 3 that I love. There's nothing really breakdowny about this. It was just one of those shots that you look at and you realize that a guy is comfortable. A shot clock winding down, gets the pass from Jamal, and simply creates an open look for himself, and he tied the game up. So a timely, self-created bucket from a guy off the bench while running with the second unit. Be the microwave. Come in, pop a couple threes, get the team back on track, score the basketball.
I'd argue this game was the most comfortable he's looked on that end of the floor, especially against an elite level team like Boston. I think we're seeing it come together for him offensively, and it's nice to see that those summer league pseudo point guard reps are starting to show themselves in a good light every now and then. Is he a good defender? Not particularly. However, he is getting more active. He is chasing shooters a lot better. We're not asking for the finished product here, just asking for visible development. And I think Julian has been showing that recently in the midst of games in between where he may score 3 or 5 points or whatever. I also really like the fact that plays are being ran for him. The vote of confidence he's getting is really nice to see because it's not coming from just the system, just the schemes. It's coming from the higher level players on the team when they need a bailout, when they can't get their own bucket, or when the play falls. Julian is a guy that they can look to hit down a shot or knock down a shot. And when he's hot, they continue to feed him. Now, on the other side of this bench coin is the face of Peyton Watson. When you watch a good Peyton Watson game, what's the biggest thing that stands out? He is everywhere.
Watson the block. Got to cover him. Swatted by Watson.
Offensively, he's learned the tendencies of the playmakers on the team and is learning every single day how to play better off of them. Block timing defensively is impeccable, and his range of effectiveness at the rim is not normal in this league for what he is, a second unit, third year small forward. I used to say that he's AG Junior when it comes to being in the second unit or even playing with the starters in a stagger, cutting, hitting the dunker spot, occasional corner 3, running on the wings in transition, all that stuff. But truthfully, he is just his own archetype. He's a momentum shifter with his blocks. He's essentially an energizer bunny. And back to his cutting for a second, that same athleticism when he's going up for an oop allows for so many bailout plays and allows a different avenue for him to score off of the playmaking of others. Because if his development isn't to be a primary ball handler, despite his ability to do so on occasion, he has to make sure he's making himself available to his primary ball handlers.
Jamal is drawing 2 on the attack here. Peyton Watson sees the lane. He signals to Jamal with that hand, and he finishes the oop. That's the stuff I'm talking about when we talk about opening himself up to the playmakers on his team. Russ is bringing it up. P. Watt's going to tag Najee Marshall on this and not like try to cause anything big, but just a little bit of confusion. Get them moving a little bit instead of just running straight to the corner to camp, because now he's behind Najee and PJ. So Russ is going to attack as they're making the switch. He's going to draw both, dump to Peyton Watson, who is now behind both of those guys, like we said, and he's going to finish with the lay. One of my favorite qualities of his is that willingness to get to the open spot. He wants the ball. He wants to make sure that he's in an advantageous spot for him and for the playmakers that are getting him the ball.
I'm not going to say he's an above average shooter because his percentage is pretty much right in the middle, but in November, he did shoot 39% from the yard. It's nothing jaw-dropping, but it is definitely a glimpse into what his full offensive development can be as an off-ball threat. If he can slot into that small forward, power forward role while providing some sort of spacing for whoever the 5 is at the time, it's going to go a long way toward quieting the bench combos. He'll never be a high-volume shooter, but if he can continue to knock down like 34 to 37% of his threes, it'll help at least a little bit. It won't be a saving grace. It won't be the thing that the team looks to bring them out of a slump, and hopefully that's not what anyone is anticipating from P. Watt. Russ being a really good starting guard and AG playing off the bench has opened up a very new avenue for this team's rotation. And I think having that flexibility in the top 4 to 6 players is helping Strawther and P. Watt develop even more. They're being asked to do different things at different times, but still being allowed to play within themselves. And I think that's the most important part. They aren't being asked to be a player that they just aren't. Strawther is being asked to be a better defender, yes, but they're not asking him to be a lockdown. They expect that from Peyton Watson, who, vice versa, isn't being asked to be the first, second, or third option in any sort of rotation on the floor on offense. But on defense, he is being expected to lock up and play some really, really impactful minutes on that side of the floor. So when the rotations are built this way that allow them to play like themselves, it becomes even more clear what their potential is and how tangible their development has been so far. Can they alone save the bench? Definitely not. There's another piece that needs to be added here, but their production definitely can go a long way toward fixing the math.